Hello and welcome to Craft with Sarah and day 2 of the card making countdown, where I'm sharing a brand new card making project with you to make with your Cricut every day for 14 days. In today's project, we're going to be using pens in our Cricut machine. Now this can be done with any type of Cricut machine, you just need to make sure you've got the right type of pens that will fit your machine. In today's download, I've included 10 pre-designed sentiments to go on your cards, all of which look beautiful when drawn with the Cricut pens. In this video, I'll show you how to turn that into a card front all on its own, how to add it to an existing design to add some extra details, and how to make message panels to go inside your cards. Let's get started. This project is part of the 2026 Card Making Countdown. Download the cut files for free for the first 24 hours after this video goes live using the links in the video description or by visiting craftwithsarah.com/cards26. After 24 hours, the cut files for this project can be purchased from craftwithsarah.com/cards26 files. Or get the entire card making countdown plus loads of extra bonus files from craftwithsarah.com/cards26 bundle. The download comes in a zip folder. You need to unzip this before uploading the SVG files into your cutting machine software. For instructions on how to do this, visit craftwithsarah.com/help and choose Cricut, Silhouette or Scan and Cut. Within there are dedicated help guides on topics such as how to upload SVGs, how to modify them to make custom projects, framing tips, and how to cut cardstock with your type of machine. If you have any questions, email hello@craftwithsarah.com. Now, on with today's project. Included with today's countdown project are 10 greetings, which you can see on the screen now. Each one comes as its own separate SVG file inside the download folder, so you can choose which ones you want to use. You'll notice when you upload them that they look a little bit strange. The O's and the dots on the I's are all filled in black. That's because Design Space doesn't understand when you load an SVG like this that you want to use the pens with it. It's still trying to cut it. So if I click one of these, you can see it says it's a basic cut. So for all of the greetings, you need to manually tell Design Space that these should be drawn with pens, not cut out. You can either do this one at a time, or you can drag to select all of them and do them all at once. Under the Operations drop-down on the top left of the screen, change it to Pen under Draw. You could also foil these with the foiling tool, but this is a pen tutorial, so we'll go for pen. Now they're looking much better. By default, Design Space will choose a fine point pen in black. You can change the colour if you want to. Changing the colour is great for making your designs because you'll get a better idea of what it looks like when it cuts out. But when you're actually drawing it with the pens in your Cricut, the Cricut doesn't know what colour you've loaded it in, so the colour it appears on the screen doesn't matter too much, as you can put in whatever pen you want. You may also want to play about with the type of pen or the thickness. Let's go in here again, and in the drop down you can choose different types of pen. The options you see here will be different depending on what type of Cricut machine you've got selected in the top right up here, so it will show only the pens that are compatible with your machine. Some of them are thicker. If I choose a gel pen, you see my line here on the Just For You got thicker because this pen has a thicker nib on it. We can even go super thick with a marker or a calligraphy pen. Bear in mind that the thicker you make the pen, the harder it will be to read if you make it small. You can sort of see this on the screen. If you make it smaller, it gets a bit almost blurry because the lines are getting so close to each other that it makes it hard to read what it's going to be. As a general rule, if you're doing a really thick pen, make your greeting quite big. If you're using one of the standard fine point ones, it doesn't matter too much if you make it really small because the line is so thin. To give an example of this in action, how big is this? 3 inches. Let's make it 3 inches wide, so fairly small. And I will I will draw a couple of these with different thicknesses so that you can see what they look like when they're actually drawn rather than just on the screen. I've got some glitter gel pens. I don't have any markers, so I can't use those, but those three should give a good example. There are so many different ways and projects you could use these sentiments for. I'll show you several ideas for using them in this video, but to start with, we'll take a look at what these look like when they are drawn on the Cricut. And I want to keep that level of gap between them. Let's line them up and attach. Attach just means that it will draw them with that amount of space between them so we can see easily. And I'll do them again in a little bit bigger so you can see how making them bigger changes how those thicker pens look. And then let's do a 5-inch one as well. When you press make and go through the cut process, it will tell you on the screen when to add the pen into your Cricut. Press make to start the draw process. And I'm using A4 paper. I'll need 2 sheets, which is fine. And press continue. For this, I'm not actually going to cut anything out. I'm just drawing. There's nothing here for the Cricut to cut, so I could just choose a random setting. I'm more about showing you how to use the pen here. So it says now here, load orange peel pen into clamp A. If you're using a Joy or Joy Extra, then you will have smaller pens and they go into the same hole that your blade goes in. So you'll need to take your blade out and then put the pen in and then change it round again afterwards. But for the Explore or Maker models, the pen goes in clamp A, which is the one next to the one that has your blade in. This is an Explore 3. Here's my clamp A. There is an A on the front there, written in there, and this is B, so this is the one with my blade in. I'll open it out. I've taken my lid off my pen and then push it down until you hear it click. It's like a thunk as it goes in, and that's how you know it's in the right place. And then close it up. I'm going to put my lid in there so I don't lose it. Then I can load my mat like normal. Then press the go button, and if you're doing something with draw and cut, it will do the drawing first and then the cutting after. It always draws in a really weird order, so you might not notice the letters coming out exactly as you'd expect, but don't worry, by the time it's finished, it will look like what it is supposed to. If you're using more than one colour, then at some point the machine will stop and your screen in Design Space will tell you to put the next pen in. It's telling me to load in my calligraphy pen. Pull that one out. Put the next one in. And then press go again. Then repeat that until everything's done. I've just seen my pen is kind of running out a little bit, which is not ideal, but never mind. Here's how my writing came out. I used a fine point pen with a 0.4 tip for the orange. Then the second one down is a calligraphy pen, which is 2.5 in width. And the third one is a gel tip, which is 0.8. This piece of paper shows the largest and the smallest. So that was my 5-inch size. And that's my 3-inch one at the bottom. Even at the 3 inches, that did come out quite nice. I thought it would look a lot worse than that, to be fair, but it has come out okay. The pen was sort of not great to start with. I think it's probably because I haven't used it for ages. By the time it got onto this one, you can see it's working much better than it was there. So if you are using one of the calligraphy pens, maybe just scribble a bit on some scrap paper before you start if you haven't used it for a while. And then this is my 4-inch one, looking lovely there. For some reason, the glitter gel pen stopped working a little bit here, so I don't have a Y on my just for you. I do find glitter gel pens are very temperamental. Not just Cricut pens, but all glitter gel pens just don't seem to work amazingly. The sort of nice thing is you can see, you probably can't on camera, but I can see the indent of where the pen touched the card. So I could go over it with the pen by hand if I wanted to fill in that letter, or just put it in the Cricut and do it again. There we go. Now you've seen how to use the greetings with the Cricut and how to actually get it to draw. Now let's see how to put them on some card making projects. Here are 3 different ideas for using the sentiments on cards. In this section, we're putting them on the front of the card, and then we'll look at writing inside the card a little bit later in this video. I've loaded in 3 of the greetings and also a little zebra which I'll use for one of the cards. First up, we need to change everything from basic cut to be drawn with the pen. We'll start by making a really simple greetings card with one of these as the standout feature on the front. I'm going to shapes and choose a square, and I'll do a 5x7 inch card, which means my square then has to be 10 inches wide and 7 inches tall. And I'll change it to white. If you have a scoring wheel or stylus, it's a nice idea to add a score line down the middle. We can go to shapes, choose a score line, and make it the same height as the card, which is 7. Drag a box around the shape and the score line and press align, then vertical and horizontal. Then with those 2 layers still selected, press attach. Attach is important, it tells the Cricut to do the scoring in that exact place. I'll do a simple thinking of you card. So for this one, I'll use some of my scrapbook paper for the front of the card. We'll add another square. I'm keeping things about as simple as they come for this card. And I've got a pale kind of purple pattern paper that I'll use and make that go on the front of my card. Then my greeting, at the moment I can't see it, it's underneath the card. So we'll go arrange to front and then size it down so that it will fit on the front of the card. I'll then duplicate my rectangle and make it white and put this behind the greeting. So I'll be drawing on white, which means you'll be able to see the card really nicely. And this is still 5 inches wide to fit perfectly on my card front. And then we'll duplicate that once more, make it a darker purple. This time I'll cut it from solid coloured card, drag that under the white, then make it a bit bigger, so we'll see a little bit there at the top and bottom. And that's it, that's as simple as I'm going to do my card. We can line things up by choosing the white rectangle, pressing shift and choosing the greeting, and then going align vertical and align horizontal to put it exactly in the middle. Sometimes that might look like it's off-centered, like mine kind of does now. It looks like it's closer to the right than the left because of this big bit on the T. So I will still nudge it over to the left, not that one a little bit. Then it visually looks like it's in the middle even if it isn't quite accurate, but I'll keep the vertical as it is. Then we need to do our attaching, so select the greeting and the white and attach. And that's it for the first card. You can also use the greetings in addition to something else on the front of your card. And let's do that. We'll make a copy of this and get rid of them. And this time I'll build up some different colours. So we'll go 4.75 by 6.75. I'll be able to see a little bit of my white base card around the edge and change that to black. Make a copy, and this one I'll cut from some pattern paper. I'll make this a bright green so I remember when I'm cutting this out, this is my pattern paper layer. And take another 1/4 of an inch off each side, so that's 4.5 by 6.5. There we go. Then I got my little zebra. This is one of the designs from my SVG shop at craftwithsarah.com/products. If you type zebra into the search, it will come up. And bring that to the front. That'll go on my card. And then I'll add a happy birthday at the bottom. Bring this to the front. Make it smaller. Now, because I want to cut this green from pattern paper, if I was to draw directly on that pattern paper, I wouldn't be able to see it because it probably wouldn't stand out very well against the colours in the pattern. So instead, what I'll do is add some rectangles behind it, similar to what we did on here. I also think on this one, I'm going to change my pen colour to something that matches a bit better. Blue bonnet. There we go, that's nice. For this one, I'll keep it in black though, because then it will be black writing on white underneath, which kind of matches my zebra theme. So we need another square or rectangle, and this one will be white. Make it so that that is covering all of my text. And make a copy for in a bit. Align it. Again, that's got the same trick of the eye where it now looks closer to the right hand side. I'll nudge it over a bit. And then, wrong one, that one, and attach. Then this one in black. And we'll make it a little bit bigger. I think I want to keep it neat actually, because I've got a 1/4 of an inch difference on these. Let's make it the same. First up, make the greeting a nice size so that we can work this out easier. 2.5 and 1.5. So then this would be 2.75 by 1.75 and go behind. There we go. Then that border there is the same width as that border there. And that would be my card. So this time the focus is more on my picture and the greeting just underneath, rather than having it as the main focus like it is on this card. There's one more thing you could do, which is instead of putting it in a rectangle, you could add a shaped border that's the same as the text. We'll do that with the Merry Christmas. I like making a load of these and having them cut out in a little box in my craft room, so that if I'm making a card last minute, I have a load of pre-made greetings that I can just put on any card, which is really helpful. So keep it in black for now, make it a bit smaller. To add a border around the edge that follows the shape of the text, go into Effects and then Offset. Make it a little smaller. The blue you can see is where the Cricut will cut. You don't want to make it too thin and too close, otherwise it will be hard to cut out, and that's probably okay. Then change the offset to a basic cut and change it to white. I don't like all the gaps in this at the minute. We can fill those in with the contour tool. Click the offset layer and then press contour on the bottom right, and then hide all contours and apply, and that will fill them in. If you want to, you can offset your offset. So we'll click the layer and then offset it again, and that will make a bigger version looking like that, which could then be in a different colour, perhaps a nice Christmassy green, and then you can build up your different layers. Don't forget to attach your pen layer to the white layer underneath. When you're attaching, if you select the layers you think you want to attach and then it all changes to one colour, that means you've accidentally selected either the wrong layer or too many layers. That time I had my green offset and my white and the text all highlighted, which is why it all turned green. Undo that. If I select just the offset and the text and attach, then that looks correct. So it'll do that for my white, that for my green, and I'll glue that on top. Okay, I am ready to cut this out, and then we'll see how to put together our cards and what it all looks like. A great thing to check if you are drawing on your layers is that after you press make, all the drawing is appearing on its backers. Give it a little check. Mine's all good here. If I saw the text without the square or the offset underneath, that would indicate I'd forgotten to attach. If that's the case, press cancel, go back to your project and make sure it's attached. But those are all looking good, so I can get this cut out. Now let's make some cards. We'll start with the thinking of you. I'm putting this together with glue. My favourite craft glue is Barely Art Glue, but I also like Kalal. The reason I like these two glues is they don't bend or wrinkle the card like some glues can do. I'll also be using some foam squares. Similar to these, although these are quite small, 5x5mm, I'll be using some slightly bigger ones for this project, just so it's a little quicker, but the size doesn't matter. If you've only got small ones, that'll work too. I'll start up by gluing my patterned paper to the front of my card that I've already folded along the score line. Glue to the front of the card, lining it up because it fits exactly on the front. I have not done a very good job at that. I'm going to start again. That's better. And for my sentiment, I'll glue it onto the purple card. Then you can either glue this onto your card or raise it out a bit with some foam squares, which is what I'm going to do for a little bit of dimension and extra visual interest. That is not quite straight. If you gently put your greeting down without pressing to start, then you can pick it up and move it if you need to. That's better. That's then a really simple card for thinking of you. Got some sticky gemstones. I am going to add just a couple to the bottom right corner to add a little bit extra to the project. I know a lot of people use tweezers for picking these up, but I cannot get used to tweezers. Don't want to go over the top blingy, but I thought it just could do with a little something else to add to it. Now let's move on to my zebra card. I've already glued my black and my pattern paper to my base card, and I've put all the layers of the teeny tiny little zebra together. So here we'll go roughly around there. And then for my sentiment, I'll do the same as the thinking of you. Glue the white onto the black and then attach with foam squares. I haven't glued my zebra down yet, but I've put it in place so that I know where to put the sentiment, because the worst thing you could do is put it too far up and then not be able to fit your main picture on. Put this near the bottom. Try and get it straight. There we are. And glue the zebra in place. And that's that one. Finally is the Merry Christmas with the shaped edge. We've got the border. Let's make sure put it the right way round. Add glue on the back. And put it in the middle. Then this would be all ready to go on a card, on a scrapbook page, on an envelope, inside a card, anything you can think of. So that was 3 ways of using the pre-designed sentiments I've included with today's countdown post. Now let's take a look at how you can write a little sentiment panel to go inside your cards with the message using drawing fonts, either ones from within Cricut Design Space itself or other ones that you find online. Next, we'll make an insert panel to go inside an existing card. I prefer doing this to trying to get the Cricut to write on the actual back of the card itself, because it means you can layer it up with different colours to match the card so it looks just as lovely on the inside as the outside. It also means that you can add this at any point in the future into a card you've already made to personalise it for whoever it is that you're giving it to. I'm using a A2 size card that I've already made in the past, but now I want to add something on the inside. First up, add a square to your project and make it the size of your card. As I'm doing an A2 card, for me, that is 4.25 inches wide and 5.5 inches tall. And change this to a guide in the operations drop down. Now you know how big the inside of your card is, so you know what space you've got for writing a message. I'm going to add a green border and then my white panel with the text on. I'll duplicate my guide and change it back to a basic cut and make it green, and then take a little bit off each side. I think 1/2 inch to start with, which makes it 3.75 by, what was it, 5.5, 4.75. No, by 4. No, that was wrong, by 5. It was 5.5 to begin with. Okay, I've taken 1/2 inch of each side and then make one more, and this will be my white. And now I'll take 1/4 inch off. 3.5 by 4.75. The reason I took 1/2 inch from the card is just to allow a little bit of room for the scoring so that it's not going to be right up against that. Then we can add some text. Here's one of the sentiments from today's download. I've changed it to a pen layer. And you could just keep it that simple if you're not sure what you want the message to be, or if you want to handwrite the rest of your message rather than having the Cricut do it. But if you do want the Cricut to do it, go into text and type out your message. I am completely making this up as I go along. It's not a real message. Change it to pen under draw, and that will make it look like bubble letters. We don't want that, so under regular here, change it to writing. And this is the Cricut Sans font, the default Cricut font, which comes with a writing version. This one is free to use. You don't need the Cricut Access subscription to be able to use it. If you want to change the font, you can either use one installed on your computer or use one from Cricut Access. Occasionally there are handwriting fonts within Cricut that are free too, as well as this one. Note that if you're using one that you've installed on your computer, it does need to be a font that's been especially designed for writing with a pen. These are known as single line fonts. If you look at the written version of this tutorial, which I'll link in the description of this video, then I'll include some places where you can get both free and paid handwriting fonts to use with your Cricut. If you're using Cricut Access, you can change the font by clicking onto it, clicking into the fonts drop down, and then in the filter option, tick writing. That will change to only show you fonts that can be done with the pen. You'll know if it's a Cricut Access font because it's got the A next to it. Here's the Cricut Sans one, which is the one we've already got, and this one's free to use, so there's no A. Not all fonts are included in Cricut Access. If you see it with a price instead, that means there would be an additional charge to use that font. I like DTC October Daylight. It's a nice script font which matches the vibe of the ones that I've created for this countdown post quite nicely. There are some for different holidays. That one you'd probably want to do fairly big so that you can see that it's spider webs, and lots of different ones in here. I think they are all Access fonts, apart from the Cricut Sans one, and possibly this one, Life's a Party. That doesn't have a price or an A, so that one could be free too. And also we've got Biz UD Gothic and Clee 1. They appear to be free too. The fonts do change between what's free and what isn't every now and then, so make sure you check. I'll go back to that one I liked. There we go. And then we can finish our message. Now this is too big to fit in my card. If I make it really small like that, it will be hard to write. To make it so that you can type in the right space, click on your text and go to Format, and then under Text Wrapping, choose the second option, Wrap On. That will then let you change the size of the box on the edges, and the text will move about so that it fits. You can also use this format to change the gap between your lines and the space between the letters to make it look exactly as you want it to. And then I could keep going to finish my message. Need to move my thank you up. Have I spelled grateful right, or is it E-A-T? I'm going to have to Google this in a new window. I Googled it, I'm correct. Okay. So I'm happy with that. I think I'll make these slightly smaller. Don't know why that just changed the layout. I think it forgot my formatting. Yes, it did. It's a strange quirk there. Doesn't matter though, we can do it again. It doesn't take very long. Okay, I like how that's looking, but I want to make sure I've got that in the middle. So I'll select that and my square and the thank you. And let's put the to Anne in the middle as well. Look, it's forgotten my settings again. There must be some quirk in Design Space at the minute. All right, let's align. That wasn't what I wanted to do either. Okay, I'll do that again in a minute. We'll align horizontal to put that so it's all nicely lined up. And do this for a third time. That is very strange and annoying. Is it every time I click into it? No, it's fine then. If I click it and select something else? No? That seems to be fine now. Very odd. Okay, I'm happy with that. So let's select. Did it again. Oh goodness. Okay, if this isn't going to let me select multiple things without changing the layout, that's going to be really hard to attach it all. I hope by the time you're watching this, they've fixed this bug. Okay, let's try changing it to a score layer just to see if I can now select it without, no, we did it again. Maybe if I flatten it to turn it into a print then cut. I don't want to keep it flattened. No, it did it again. Okay, I am going to report this bug to Cricut when I finish this video. Gosh, I don't quite know what I can do then, because I have to be able to attach it to the background. Let's undo that flatten because that didn't help. Okay, it seems to like it if I only select one thing and the text. Let's attach that. Then if I select everything, I thought I was going to get around it that way. Okay, so for now I am just going to, let's make it break and just take out that space, then it'll fit. That's a very annoying bug. Okay. Right, now I can select all those layers and attach, and then that will be right. I don't need the guide, but it won't cut anyway because it's a guide. Guides just show on the screen, they don't cut. We can see if I do this, that's on my rectangle. That took longer than it was supposed to, didn't it? Here's a card I already had made. And here is my insert and the backing for it to go on. Look how pretty that is. All that lovely writing. I'll glue this onto the backer. And then glue into the card. And now it's beautifully finished off and ready to post. If you need an envelope for your card, check out the Foundation Learning section at the top of the schedule page for this craft countdown. Within there is links to a separate tutorial with a free SVG for an envelope, and the tutorial shows how you can resize it to fit any card. I hope that you enjoyed this video on how to use pens with your Cricut machine to make beautiful drawn sentiments. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel for loads more Cricut crafts and free SVGs. I hope to see you tomorrow for day 3 of the card making countdown, but for now, thank you so much for watching. Bye!